And we're live. What's happening, everyone? Nicky Hawkins here, West Ham Fan TV. Back once again with Friday Night Pint. The boys are in the house. I'm back in the house after an absence for a couple of weeks. And we're all doing good. But listen, it's final week. We've got lots and lots to talk about. I hope you're all doing well at home. Is the Mikhail Antonio, the top story is the Mikhail Antonio comments, of course. Are they affecting? Are they going to affect our performance, our manager? There's lots of stuff going on. Racism over in the 7v7s, and lots of other stuff as well. First of all, boys, how you doing?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. Had a good week. I thought it was going to go very slow this week. But me and Scott was just talking off air, and it's gone quite quick. Like, looking forward to next week, obviously, but I'm looking forward to a nice weekend at home, chilling out, getting ready for my trip to Prague. And I've got my pint over there, another one up there, couple more in the fridge. It's Friday night, and I'm on it.
I've got a McDonald's milkshake. That's what I've got today. I'm saving myself for Prague. Yeah. I can't get drunk again. It's getting a bit ridiculous.
You have to take it easy at your age, Nick, when you get in your 40s.
I know, mate. I know. Do you know what? I've just had a trim up and that. My beard is grey now. It's grey.
Yeah, mate. It's it's at least you ain't got a lot of hair, but you'd rather the grey in the beard than in the ear.
All right, Scott, having a dig.
It's in the ear as well, mate.
I'm at that age. I'm in my late 30s where I've got more grey hairs down there than I have up there. So
I've got these like strips of grey growing now.
Yeah,
I look like fucking Ming the Merciless. What's his name? The fucking the guy from Thing. What's that all about?
I was just about to say, like, you look like a young Philip Schofield, but I'm not going to go there.
No, don't. Please don't. Someone said just dye my hair ginger. Yeah. Right, let's get right into it. We've got, we obviously want to end on positive, so we're going to start off with the negatives. Has anybody seen, we spoke about on the podcast, but, David Moyes has commented today, the Mikhail Antonio comments on both Scamacca and the style of play this week. It doesn't seem to have gone down well.
Yeah, no, it hasn't. It hasn't gone down, as we said on the podcast. It hasn't gone down well, especially with some of the fan base, myself including. I watched Moyes' press conference today. It's very rare that he does a long press conference, but I went on their YouTube channel. It was a half hour long, so I watched it, and I think 15 minutes was him talking, and then 15 minutes was the Italian geezer doing the interpretation and everything. So it was good, but yeah, Moyes ain't happy, and I'll make him right. I think that Antonio's a lucky man that Scamacca's not fit, because I think that with the comments and the unrest, he might have found himself not even being in the squad for the final. And it's only himself to blame. It's the people who've done the podcast as well, releasing it at the time they did. I know. Look,
let me just play devil's advocate there, right? Just before you go on, is it their responsibility?
Whose responsibility?
The people that are releasing the podcast. They have, just like the David Moyes one earlier on in the season. They have got a responsibility to themselves to get the most traction they can out of a podcast. So the week of the final, everyone's all eyes on West Ham. Nobody else is playing next week, apart from Manchester City. They release it at this time because it's the most traction they're going to get from their podcast.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're entitled to do it, but Antonio shouldn't be entertaining that podcast. He's got his own podcast that he does with Callum Wilson, which is, look, I think the other week they sort of slated Richarlison, and I know Richarlison had a great season, but you got two fellow professionals taking the mickey out of a player who's struggling at the moment. Antonio always bangs on about mental health and all that. Yet they sit there and take the mickey out of other players. And Richarlison just retweeted back, how many World Cup goals you got, both of you? So it sort of shut them up, really.
Yeah. Fair play. He's made his point here. But that's it. It's the figure that he shouldn't be saying these sort of comments. He knew what he was saying when he said it. He knew this would come out probably before the end of the season. And he should think about what he says before he opens his trap. And the problem is with him, I don't think he actually cares. And that's what I think part of the problem is. I don't think he gives a monkeys what people think of him. I think he's more he perceives himself in a different way to what a lot of fans perceive him, if you know what I mean.
I think he
And
knows that he's in the last few
he's,
seasons of his
he's
career.
done
And
it. He's
he's
done it.
looking for he's looking for another venture after football. And look, he's entitled to do that. Don't get me wrong, but don't do these podcasts during the season. He done one earlier in the season, which wound the fan base up. I think I said it on the podcast. Like, I think it stinks of a man who knows he's leaving the football club, and I think he's just trying to go out and cause a little bit of friction between the team and the manager. I mean, I'm just 100% back David Moyes on this. You know, you could tell in his press conference when he was asked a question, he said, "Look, I do rate Scamacca, but unfortunately, he's had his injuries this season, and we will deal with Antonio internally." So whatever's going to happen, I can't see him leaving Antonio out of the squad. I see a few things on Twitter earlier that apparently Antonio is going to be left out. Maybe there may be some sort of chance that Scamacca could be back. He's been training. I can't see that myself.
Yeah.
I think that'll be a big risk. But yeah, no, look, we need Antonio, and if Antonio's on form, he's you know, he can get us that winning goal or create something. So get your head down, enjoy your week with your teammates, think about the final, and think about the fans for a change.
Yeah, I'm with you, mate. I think now the situation we're in, I think the deal with it, fine him and all that. I don't think this is the time to drop him. You know, we can't. We need our strongest setup going into this game against Fiorentina. You know, this is the biggest chance we've got of winning the trophy since 1980. You know, a European trophy in however long it's been. You've got to just put all that aside and what's gone on and just say, look, you're bang out of order. You're wrong for what you said and how you said it. But at the end of the day, we need to win this trophy. You've got a chance to become a legend. I've got a chance to become a legend. Put everything aside and win the game and then deal with it afterwards.
Yeah, that's the. I agree with that. To be honest with you, I wouldn't be dropping anyone from a final over a comment. I've got not a lot of hate for what he said. I think both comments are quite true.
Yeah.
In the fact that worrying, one of them, but very true. You know, they tried to change up their style of play, and it was basically it wasn't working, and they just sort of realised towards the end that it wasn't working, and they need to go back to what they was doing before, which I find quite worrying. But the Scamacca stuff, I'm not. I don't think it's untrue, but there is obviously like a conflict of interest there from what he said. Like, yeah, Scamacca's quality, but he can't play the David Moyes way. And basically what he's saying is David Moyes way isn't quality, which, look, we're not stupid. We've said it on this podcast. We've said it on various shows that, the David Moyes way is a very dated way of playing football. But when it's working, it works. And when it don't, it spectacularly fails.
The thing is, though, just quickly on that, mate, it's all right Antonio saying that, but if it wasn't for Moyes' way, Antonio probably wouldn't have played a lot of football.
He wouldn't be playing.
Exactly.
No,
he should be really backing David Moyes in that sense, because look, we all complained that we didn't like the style of football. They tried to change it. It didn't work. They went back to basics, and look where we are now. We stayed up comfortably, and we're in a European final. It hasn't been a great Premier League season, I know that, but there's things to work on. We had people coming on our channel earlier in the season saying Paqueta was a waste of space and he'll never make it. I got called deluded, and I didn't know what I was talking about when I said that some players need time to settle in. But I think once he settles in, we'll have a special player on our hands. And look at him now. Everyone loves him. Everyone's making flags of him singing his song. So sometimes you just got to have a little bit of patience. And it's. I just don't like all this negativity on a week of a final. It should be all positive. We should all be buzzing. It should all be. Let's be talking about how the players are. I mean, I love seeing the video of the players playing golf together and in the water park singing old Syed Ben Rama, because there is some good team spirit there. It's just there always seems to be one or two people that want to upset the apple cart. And then once you upset one or two people, you upset the whole of social media. Then you have a week of negative stuff, when this should be one of the happiest weeks of our life building up to this final.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I've got to take a comment here from Dino H. said he's probably right from what he said, but he should not be saying it, especially now. Really, really bad timing. Yeah, that is one thing I would say. It's got nothing to do with him. He's just literally look. He's not. I'm not going to say he's not the most intelligent of people. I've seen people say it in the comments. I don't know Mikhail Antonio personally. I couldn't tell you how intelligent. He can't be that stupid, look, because he's played football for a long time, and that's in the top division, and it's you've got to have a bit of brain about you to do that. But it's got nothing to do with him, and it doesn't help anyone. And what is he doing by saying that? He's not doing anything apart from giving the people on the podcast a soundbite. Look how many views they've got off of it. It's being brought up in press conferences and all that. Right? It doesn't do anyone any favors. It's got nothing to do with him. Like when they asked Mikhail Antonio if he wants to do these stupid podcasts, let him do them. You know what I mean? Like, and I say stupid podcasts in a way. We produce podcasts for a living, but our interests are not conflicted. We're fans of the football club, and we give our opinion. We do not need. And as I said, he has not said anything that one of us hasn't said. On this podcast, but when it's coming from inside the changing room, it should not be happening. And that we slagged off David Moyes earlier on in the season for doing a similar thing. For doing something that didn't help us or didn't help the players at the time, and I find that there's been quite a bit of this over the season, especially between Moyes and Antonio, this backwards and forwards, this banter, maybe he's told him he's not going to renew his contract, or maybe he's told him that he's going to be looking to get rid of him. I don't know what the odds are, You heard Antonio earlier on in the season, basically turn around again, like, I'll leave, I'll go and play anywhere. It doesn't matter. Like, I'm a professional footballer. I've got no sort of loyalty to West Ham. It's not a great thing to do. He is doing nobody any favours apart from his mates that he's sitting there with a podcast with. And somebody else made a good point as well. Look, we're not mates with Mikhail Antonio. We're not mates with Manuel Lanzini. We're not mates with Declan Rice. We're not. I barely know any of these people. I've met them once or twice in passing. So we're not mates. Like, they may be mates of Mikhail Antonio. Now, I know Troops is a good friend of Mikhail Antonio's that works on the AFTV or podcast or whatever he does now. He's made a connection with them people. But what is he doing apart from supplying his mates with a soundbite in the week of a final? Could upset the whole apple cart. And I'm telling you what now, right? He wants to hope and pray that, one, he has a good game, and two, we win that final. Because if we don't, he could become the next big villain. That's a villain story right there. Because if we don't win it, and people start saying, there's unrest and this and this, he could be the one. He could be the one falling on his sword.
Mate, if he scores the winning goal on Wednesday night, he can do his podcast in the middle of the fucking pitch with a trophy for a while. I can give two shits. I want him to play. I want it because I know on his day, when his mind's on it, he can be an important player for us, and he scored some important goals for us over the last few seasons. So he just needs to concentrate, on this week. Don't worry about podcasts and worry about Callum Wilson and worry about whatever. Just worry about your family, your team, getting to Prague safely and getting us that trophy. That's all that matters for me.
No, it's it, mate. You both nailed it, bang on. At the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with what he said. It's just the timing that he said it, and there's more important things now that the team need to be concentrating on instead of his silly comments. And at the end of the day, look, they're professionals. They're going to be wanting to win this fixture as much as we're wanting them to win it. This is a big thing for a lot of these players. Last chance saloon of winning a trophy for probably some of these players as well. So they're going to give it their all. We know that. I don't think this will disrupt the team too much. It will disrupt probably Moyes and Antonio, their relationship, if they've got one, more than anything else. But I think that the other lads, and probably Antonio as well, footballing wise, are a bit more professional to just get on with the job that needs to be done.
There seems to be a bit of a shift in Mikhail's attitude lately. He's gone from, I met him 5 years ago now. 5 years ago at a FIFA do. Maybe 6 years ago. And he was the nicest guy. He was the nicest guy, and he couldn't say anything, and he went from being the sweetheart of the changing room, the guy that would give everything for West Ham, going, playing every position, don't matter where you would play, to being this sort of acid tongue guy. And I can't really work out where it's changed for Mikhail.
I've seen him do interviews on Sky, and he always comes across as such a nice bloke. He's like a bit like Jack Grealish. He just says it how it is, has a laugh. He always seems to have a smile on his face, and that's what. Yeah, sometimes like when you get involved with these podcasts and other fellow professionals, and especially when you're taking the Mickey out of fellow professionals, because they should know. Callum Wilson has been through some tough times during his career with injuries and that, and his mental health. And Antonio's the same when he went so long without scoring, but everyone stuck by him. And to whether it's Richarlison or whoever, you shouldn't be doing it with fellow professionals. I just didn't agree with that. And then what he said about basically slating his manager, slating one of his teammates, saying he's not, basically saying that he weren't good enough to adapt to the Premier League. That's what I got out of it, is that Scamacca can't adapt. Well, for me, what I've seen of Scamacca, I think, he obviously does suit European football a bit more, and he has been a lot better in Europe for us. But some of these players don't take to the Premier League straight away. Get in there with a new manager next season. If Moyes does go, Scamacca could be a totally different player. He could be a 15 to 20 goal a season striker. He's got that. You can see it in him. But for me, I think that I read something the other day that there might be something that Roma are linked with him, and Tammy Abraham could be part of a deal. I would take that all day long. I'll take Tammy Abraham.
I wouldn't,
because I always rated him when he was at Chelsea. But that's not saying that I'm giving up on Scamacca, because if Scamacca gets a chance at West Ham next season, I want him to do well. Of course I do.
Yeah, no, that's it. I think personally, Scamacca's got all the attributes to be successful in the Premier League. It's just the team that we have and the way we play doesn't suit him. He's a quality player. You can see it. His hold up play is good. We just don't get nowhere near him. We need to be in and around him.
That for me is the whole reason that we have to get rid of David Moyes. But that's the reason we have to, because there is no evolution in the play. He took 18 months to pick him.
Yep.
18 months to pick a player that doesn't, that, let's be honest, is Haller. It's the same.
Yeah.
If you're going to pick Scamacca, you might as well have kept Haller, And I'm not saying that there's not, I don't think that they're even similar players, Haller and Scamacca. I think Scamacca's got a little bit more about him, and I think Haller's a better goal scorer in terms of that. But he took 18 months to pick him out, and it's exactly the same as a striker in the same mould that does not fit his system. And that for me, they spent a lot of money on, and that for me is a reason why they should be looking at him and saying, right, you don't know your fucking arsehole from your elbow. We cannot carry on playing this gung-ho fucking set piece, fucking battering ram style of football. It gets you so far, like you showed you this year. It gets you so far, and it doesn't get you any further. That's why we've got to get rid of David Moyes, in my opinion. But again, let's get through this final first, man. Let's get through this final.
The thing for me is, Nick, is that with Haller, we had the same things. We never got around him, never played to his thing. We signed Scamacca. We tried to progress to this possession-based football. Like even Antonio's comments on that, that we tried to play a different way, and Moyes stuck with it when it weren't going right, and then we had to go back to where we was last season. The problem is I don't know about you, but I never see us change systems, change styles. To me, all season we've played exactly the same way we played. Sideways, backwards, let's go long. All right. Apart from in Europe. Europe was the only time I can actually sit there and say I saw a difference in the style of play that we had. Right. And that is the worrying thing, because as we said, playing a striker like Scamacca, you need to support him. You need to have players around him, players close to him. How many times this season, especially at the start of the season where he started coming through, were we sitting there saying the players are too deep, the players are too far away, but we're playing possession football. You're playing possession football, you play it in the opposition's half. You don't play it in your own half.
Yeah, I think Scamacca, he only made 16 appearances for us this season, 3 goals, so he hasn't had a great, he's had an injury hit season. It's not always been injuries. You know, I've heard things, and Colton Cole admitted this on a night when I was there, that he's very lazy around the training ground, doesn't want to train. So for me, when Moyes ain't picking him, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But if a player ain't turning up late for training, don't want to train, then he don't play. Simple as that. You know, and you have to back David Moyes on that, making them decisions. But if he, as I said, if Moyes does go in the summer and we do get another manager in, it's a fresh start for everyone. It's a fresh start for every player. You know, Declan Rice looks like he's going to leave the football club. So new signings come in. It could be the fresh start that we need. You know, we've had this for the last 2 seasons now. Declan Rice is going. Declan Rice is going. Declan Rice is going. Let it happen. I want him to stay. Of course I do. But let's get that out the way straight away. Whoever comes in, if David Moyes does it, I think personally David Moyes will step down. I think if we win that European Cup, he'll want to go out on a high. He's been linked with Celtic. Perfect job for him. He'll go out there and win titles. He'll be. I don't care what people say. If he wins that European Cup, he'll always be thought of at West Ham. Just like every player, you know, that's gonna. If we do win it, everyone's. You know, I want pictures of the players up on my wall. You know, so in 10, 15, 30, 40 years' time, we can remember these times. So it's about that, and yeah, it's going to be interesting. But yeah, this is what I didn't want. This is, you know, for me, the start of this week, building up to the final, I want positive, you know, positivity. You know, I've seen the players' interviews, I've seen the players training, seen the players spending time together. You know, it's all about the fans flying to Prague next week, enjoying it in the fan zones. Look, it's going to be an amazing week. Let's hope that it obviously ends on a high and we win it. But it's just a privilege to be in the final, whatever you think of this competition. And, you know, I've been watching Sky Sports News all day. I was on ITV News again tonight. They played our interview on there, but they give us credit this time. They said West Ham Fan TV on it. So fair play to ITV. So yeah, it's nice. And that's the sort of positivity I want this week.
Yeah. No, right. Let's take some comments just to get this done and dusted. West Ham fan channel, the Free Hammer says, I think that the more concerning thing about the podcast is when he said, I decided to start playing better because I didn't want to have my wages halved by relegation. Fair play. Nicky, what do you think of GCSEs? They're fantastic.
GCSEs, weren't they in Green Street?
I've heard Scamacca could be fit and Antonio dropped. Maybe. Antonio should be concentrating on his effing football and standing up. Antonio is useless. Don't know why he talks so much. I heard West Ham note about the podcast, but thought it would come out after the final. That's interesting. That's an interesting one because I don't believe it, but it's interesting. Because they're so far in control of these things that, you know, they don't let nothing go, you know, and you know, I'd sound like a bitter old man when they say it, but, you know, we've been told so many times we cannot speak to these players. We wouldn't be stitching them up like that. That's for sure, you know, and they won't let us talk to them because they fear what, you know, might be asked, might be said, yet they let them go on these podcasts and, you know, they obviously the PR team have heard what was said and just said, I'll just put this out after the final when the other party have decided, no, fuck that, you know, we're going to get more traction before the final.
I'd stitch them up. I'd say, right, sign that contract or I'll release the photos. You know. I'm joking, by the way.
It's interesting. It's interesting. Edward Turner, West Ham fan, getting ready to leave for the airport in a few hours. Prague with a ticket. Here I come. Have a good time, Edward, and I'm sure we'll see you over there, mate. We'll be coming out Tuesday. Jay Brooks, give us a brief description of what was said. Brief description. You know, Scamacca ain't
Moyes
good
is
enough.
shit. Scamacca's shit.
Yeah, Scamacca ain't good enough, and the other one was, you know, we're shit, basically. And we decided to stop listening to Moyes. Gareth Jennings says, love listening to you, boys. Spurs fan, thank you very much. Ed Turner, $5. He just said this. Thanks for the $5, mate. But heading to the airport in an hour. Oregon to Prague. Wow. I also have a ticket in the West Ham section. I cannot wait. Well done, mate.
Beautiful part of the world, that Oregon.
Yeah, I've never been. How are the players allowed to do podcasts like this, but can't talk to fan channels? You tell me. If anything, it could devalue Scamacca. If a club wants to buy him, I won't want to pay much money if someone in the clubs admit they can't use him. Very interesting. He's probably right what he said, but he should not be saying it, especially now. Really bad timing. Brian Patterson says if we don't win on Wednesday, he'll be out. I'm sure he means Antonio. I think Antonio was hurt when he was dropped for Scamacca, and he's never let it go. Beat on Adonis says our PR department is utterly incompetent if they greenlit this interview on condition it came out after the final. Absolutely. Michael says it's okay when you are retired to say what you want, but it's still employed by the club. It's like me going on social media slagging off my workplace and managers that gets spread, and I'm in trouble. Antonio thinks he's good enough to get into the Man City team. I don't think he actually said that. I think he said he'd score 30 goals, but I still don't believe him.
I think I'll score 30 goals in that City team.
I don't think he would. Roger's favourite, Gabriel Jesus only scored 15. Roger's favourite to take over if Moyes is sacked, according to Steinberg. Well, enough said. If Antonio was as good as at shooting as he is doing podcasts,
he's had more hits on a podcast than he has on a pitch.
I think the key man and the person who will be the hero if we win is Paqueta. If we win, Paquetá, I think it is. We've been pronouncing it wrong all season. If we win, he will be the guy.
I used to like the way when you remember when we first signed Masuaku and Scott used to do the team lineups and he couldn't say his name. I used to fucking love that. I miss Scott announcing the starting lineup.
what about Czech?
Yeah,
Kayate.
Kayate. The comment from Antonio was more concerning on that podcast when he said, "I decided to start playing." I just read that, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. You started it twice.
Let's bring back Pellegrini. How do you spell play some better football? Moyes prefers wingers converted into strikers and actually strikers like Haller, Scamacca, Chicharito, and even Ings. If you look at the last 10 games of the season, particularly the stats, there is a lot of improvements to make to next season. Absolutely. Thank you right there, Ryan. I hadn't heard that. I think he was talking about the Scamacca situation, not training and etc. Antonio is the best forward. I think that's not meant to be Byler. I think that's meant to be Bowen, and Ben Rama are also brilliant. Antonio is better when he's playing each week and he has to make way for new players who did not muck in. Fact, I think it led to disruption of our season trying to fit these players in. I won't blame too much on some of our senior players to make it their fault. It's your opinion, Robert, and we're glad to have it. Scamacca isn't cut out for the EPL, says Sheriff. I don't know about that, mate. Amen says he's not going to be motivated to play when the manager's style is against yours. Bad choice from both parties. El Chicho says he will be pissed off. Mismanaged as usual. Got injured at Leeds away in January. We make him do stupid injection that made it worse than it needed surgery. And Red S 499. Thank you very much. Yes, I don't get the Rice to Arsenal for football. Won't win the league or the Champions League. Might as well stay and win the Conference League, fight for Europa. Look, you're right, mate. But I do not want to speak about Rice tonight. TalkSport do enough of that all the time. Listen, we've got to touch on something that's going on over in the States. What have you made of this fucking tournament that's going on? I'll tell you what I have made of it. It ain't been off my fucking timeline for Twitter.
It's just a football tournament. I don't see why people get so upset with it. Like, I've enjoyed watching it. I watched both games yesterday. I watched the one earlier today. It's just, for me, it's nice to see old teammates get back together, go overseas. I know that obviously a lot of people go on about Tom Skinner as the manager, but I've hardly seen him. I think he must be in the pub. It's been more Kenny Brown on the touchline. I watched the game yesterday, the one last night, the second game where it all kicked off. Bad-tempered game. Always looked like it was going to kick off, to be honest. There was a few tackles going in. Jack Collinson sent one of their players flying. Elliot Ward snapped one of them. Obviously, I don't know what's said. It hasn't come out what's been said yet, but something obviously was said. You could tell by, I think it was Anton Ferdinand, Colton Cole, and David Martin when they approached the officials. You could sort of hear what Anton Ferdinand was saying, look, we can't continue. Someone else must have heard it because obviously the other team's been kicked out of the tournament now. But look, it doesn't matter if you're playing 5-a-side with your mates, 7-a-side in the States or Premier League or international football. Racism's racism and you can't be doing it. And I'm proud of them players that walked off the pitch and stepped away. Whether it is a silly 7-a-side tournament in the States, they still made a stance and they all stood together. And it's not the first time, obviously, that Anton Ferdinand's been involved in racism. Obviously, we had the John Terry affair a few years ago. But look, these sort of South American players, they say these words and it doesn't mean anything in their place. They say it regularly and they think they can get away with it. But look, they've been caught out, they've been kicked out. Hopefully they get fined and whatever. I mean, I don't know. Some of them are obviously ex-professional. I don't know what you can do with them, but they've let Dallas down, they've let themselves down, they've let their fans down. And yeah, it's just disgrace, and fair play to West Ham and the players that walked off.
Now I find it a bit odd that, you know, a sevens tournament like that, and they go into the game in such bad tempers, man. You know,
I don't agree with that because they're competitive. You've played against retired football players. When you're on that pitch, everything's competitive. You're going to put tackles in. You don't want to lose, especially when you got youngsters flicking it around you, and you're not young enough to catch them anymore. You know, that's what happens.
Yeah, I think we thought we were going out there to play sort of a tournament, a bunch of amateurs and sort of legend type players. Vets. Yeah, you know, a vets type thing, and you know they're playing against a lot of youngsters. And said you see like Ryan was saying, you see some of the tackles that went in. You know, the refereeing was shocking. And look, like you said about racism, it's got no place in football whatsoever, no matter what level of football it is. And I don't think the referee helped yesterday, but he weren't strong enough. You know, if you're having a tournament like that, you've got to make sure you have strong referees because it was getting heated and things like that. And them tackles that went in, we put that tackle that Elliot Wall put in, Ryan, almost snapped that bloke in half. It's a sending off all day long, and the referee didn't even have a word with him.
I thought he got the ball.
It don't matter. You can't tackle like that, you know. And you know, it's silly. If you're running a tournament like that, you've got to make sure it's run properly and the officiating is proper officiating.
Look, you've known yourself. You've played in charity games, and you know I've played in charity games with ex-West Ham players, and I've seen them firsthand in the change rooms how serious they take it.
Yeah.
You know, I was sitting on the bench next to Steve Lomas, and one of my mates, Shorty, put in a tackle on one of their players, and Lomas was itching to get on just to snap him. If he could get near him, to be fair. But that's how they are. They never lose that competitiveness, and you don't. It's just one of them things. It's your teammates at the end of the day. Most of them players have played together at some point, you know, and they're all good mates. So I do understand it, but yeah, it's not nice to see. I mean, you could see it in Anton Ferdinand. I love it when one of them come over to Anton Ferdinand and said something, and you could hear it on the mic. It got caught. And Anton Ferdinand was like, go away, I'll fuck you up or punch you up or something like that. Like the old South London come out in Anton Ferdinand at that point. But it's heated, isn't it? It's a shame because I don't get the rules of the tournament. You know, I don't get what the overtime is, and then you got to score like an extra goal. The Americans love chucking extra rules in. These are the ones that used to take penalty kicks from the halfway line to beat the goalkeeper. They always try to add something different. And that's why I think sometimes American football or soccer doesn't get taken as serious because they always try to add these extra silly rules in, like just play the 20 minutes each half. Whoever's winning won the game.
They're dramatic, aren't they? That's the thing. They're dramatic. They're dramatic people. And they like drama and they like, you know, franchise. Listen, there is no place for that. I'm surprised. You know, there's obviously like something going on. I think more surprising what saw me is in the comments of the, you know, of the YouTube clips and that they've sent out and the statement that they put out about, you know, they've had to withdraw. And there's people, you know, that obviously American, that are saying, but what about the tackle and what about this? And I'm like, fucking for real, like this is a 7-a-side tournament for a fucking start. Like, who gives a shit? You know, you're not getting the fucking $1 million. And for two, there is no comparison to what you know, whether they're kicking the shit out of each other or at all. You can't compare that to, you know, to saying that sort of thing to people. You know, and yeah, I am very proud that we walked off off the pitch. There are some people again in them comments that was suggesting it's because we was losing. And they wanted an excuse to get out. But, you know, after reviews and stuff, they got slung out. But, well, they got told to leave. Let's be fair. They got told to withdraw. Otherwise, they're going to get slung out. So there's obviously something gone on. There is rumours about what was said. It was meant to be a comment to Frank Nouble. Frank Nouble was a big bloke as well, man. I wouldn't want to say.
They made me laugh, Frank, when the commentators kept calling him Noble.
Noble, yeah.
They weren't saying Nouble, they was going, and Noble. And I'm thinking to myself, Noble ain't there. And I realised that they were saying, Frank Nouble.
Yeah, but disgusting to see that, and it just goes to show that there's still a bit of work to be done. But there we go.
Unfortunately, mate, that's you'll never get racism out of football. You never will. That's the unfortunate thing. But you have to, if teams start calling it out and walking off the pitch, it might make a bit of a difference. But you're always going to have it. Unfortunately, that's just especially when you play the sort of overseas teams and that. I think in England we're quite. It's not as bad here. I mean, it might go on, but we don't know about it. But it's not as bad as some countries that you go to.
Would you start miking up players to make absolute sure? Obviously battling it on the stand starts with on the pitch. You can't be having players saying it. Otherwise, people in the stands never.
No, I don't think you should mic players up. It's I think they tried that once in the early 90s, and Tony Adams had it on. He was pissed. I remember him calling David Ellery a prick. I don't think you can mic the players up.
Yeah, but it's not. I mean, it's not for everyone to hear. But obviously, if there's incidents and accusations and things being thrown about,
maybe it might be. I don't know. I don't know how you can do it, but yeah. I mean, look, it's what needs to be done is that teammates need to call it out. Whether it's your teammate saying it, call them out. They might be a teammate, but you can't be a racist. It's just call it out. That's all you can do. But unfortunately, mate, we still live in a world where it happens, and you see it last night, as you said, in the 7-a-side tournament. It's meant to be a bit of fun. There's a lot of money on the line for it. So these from what I've seen on all the Instagram of all the players is that they've loved meeting up with their mates, going flying first class to America, enjoying the time in the hotel. They've got some good characters out there. I'm sure they'll have a few beers after. Whatever you think of Tom Skinner, he's a good character. I think he'll be good to have around the players. So yeah, it's just a shame. It's just a shame. But I watched the game earlier as well. So I think we're out now, though. I don't think we went through. We won today, but I don't think we got the result for yesterday. I think it was null and void. So
that's I think that makes a bit of a mockery of the tournament, really. One team's.
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying that I just literally flicked on and see the game. I missed the start of it. We was winning 1-0. But yeah.
Oh, who knows? I'm sure they've had a good time in North Carolina. Maybe they wanted to get back for the final. There you go.
That's true.
What else are we going to talk about tonight? I can't. Is there anything else coming up? I can't think of anything.
I think there's a friendly next week in there.
I think there might be a friendly next week. Yeah,
I know. Fiorentina are playing tonight, aren't they? So,
they are. They're 1-0 up apparently, but very open and high line at the back apparently.
I think they've made a lot of changes, haven't they?
Yeah, I like to see their team. They've obviously got one eye on Prague as well. But yeah, look, there's been some. I'm looking forward to it, mate. I'm buzzing for next week. Can't wait.
Yeah. Any nerves setting in yet?
No, not really. If I'm honest, I'm not a type to get nervous. I'll be nervous when I'm in the stadium. I think I'm going to enjoy these next few days. I'm going to enjoy flying out there on Tuesday, spending the day in Prague, waking up Wednesday morning, and looking forward to getting to the fan zone and meeting a few people and having a drink and then getting to the final. I'll be nervous around kickoff time. I'm not one that's going to sit there and like some people are probably pacing up and down their living rooms because I can understand that, but I'm good at keeping calm and I don't let nerves set in. I can be nervous, but I don't show it.
I'm not quite there yet. I think I've got to be there. I don't listen. European finals they don't come along often, and the last time we We got to one was in the 70s, and we lost it. And we got the one in the 60s and we won it. So they don't come along often. And, there's so many, you see these things on the TV, as much as people want to call this a Mickey Mouse tournament or a Tin Pot tournament or whatever they want to call it, it's a tournament. It's a tournament that we've done very well in. It's a tournament that we've got to the final of. It's a tournament that can reap some good rewards for us and where we want to go as a football club next season, despite a poor season. And, it's one of them things where this is what it's all about. You need to get, all of these people that call it Tin Pot, these Leicester fans last week that were calling it Tin Pot and all that, they'd like to fucking be in this Tin Pot Cup. They was in this fucking Tin Pot Cup last year, to be quite honest with you. And they seem to enjoy themselves last year. So, but yeah, it's, it's a European final and it's something for us to, to cling on to, some hope, some, a shining light in a poor season, and although we do say this about David Moyes, and we've said that about David Moyes this season, he has led us to a final, and he could give us our first bit of silverware in a long time, 43 years. So he does as much, as we can talk about David Moyes' future in the future. It's not about that this week. It's not about where Declan Rice is going as much as TalkSport would want to, to make it about that. It's not about Mikhail Antonio's comments. It is about getting out to Prague or watching it wherever you may watch it, with your friends, with your family, on your own, in fan zones, in Prague, in Paris, in London, in Mexico, in America, wherever you may be. Just enjoy these moments because they don't come along very often. I remember FA Cup finals, playoff finals are a bit different, but we've been to one FA Cup final since. So enjoy it. And no matter what we do this week, I'm very proud of the boys from getting there, and I've enjoyed this journey, and I just hope we can do it so we can do it all over again tomorrow.
I think you look at the last. I think you look at the last few seasons, mate. I mean, Moyes said it today: finishing 6th, finishing 7th, semi-final Europa last season, final this season. You'd have to go a long way back in West Ham's history to find when we've had a few good seasons like that. And I know everyone ain't a fan of Moyes, and I understand that. But let's give him some credit. We, as you said, mate, we are in a final. There's only 3 teams that can win European Cups this season, and we might be one of them. There's 3 Italian football at the moment is on and up. There's 3 Italian teams in all the finals. Obviously, Roma lost the other night, but Inter Milan plays City next week in the Champions League final. But before that, we play Fiorentina, and I see someone in the comments there say about Fiorentina's manager said that they're going to do dirty tactics and dirty fouls. I welcome that, because where do we score goals from? Set pieces. Mm-hmm. So you can kick us about. You give us them moments to get that ball in the box. You give us free kicks outside the box. You let the big man Thomas Souček get in there and score in front of in his home country. Make that moment happen, because Fiorentina, I've seen a few of their fans on, and I've been following them on the sly, and they're confident. They're very confident that they're gonna 3-4, 5-0. Let them do it. Let them do it, because I remember Liverpool fans saying it in 06, 5-6-0, and we give them a game. As long as we walk off that pitch, we've given them a game. That's all that matters to me. I want to win that trophy, but I don't want to be embarrassed on the night. And I don't think we will. I think our players are going to be up for it. I think everyone's excited. I think hopefully this is our time. We deserve a trophy, as it's been 43 years since we won the FA Cup, 47 years since we last won the European Cup. So this club needs a little bit of success, whether you think it's a big trophy or not. I don't care. A trophy's a trophy at the end of the day, and I'm going to treat it like it's the Champions League. I'm going to treat it like it's the fucking best trophy in the world. I don't give a shit, because as a West Ham fan, in all my 39 years, I've never seen us win a major trophy. So I will enjoy it as much as anyone else.
Mate, bang on. That is exactly it. A trophy is a trophy. It's a European competition. And I don't give a monkey's what other people think about the trophy. If we win it, I'll be over the moon that we've won it. And yeah, too right. Build a statue of Moyes. Build a statue of whoever scores a winning goal. Because at the end of the day,
I won't go that far, Scott.
but it will be, mate. Because as I said, you end up. As I said before, these players winning a trophy become club legends. whether some people like it or not, and there's people out there that will never want to call David Moyes a legendary manager of our football club because of their feelings about him. But at the end of the day, he delivers a European trophy. He goes in the same bracket as John Lyall and Ron Greenwood. No matter what you think, them managers are legend managers. They were great managers, but they also won trophies. And Moyes will go into that.
These players have got a chance to write themselves into West Ham's history,
Yeah.
and they will, because as I said, it has been a long time. And there's some players out there in that team that might not ever play in finals again. There's some like Declan Rice will probably go on and play in a few finals. But you look at I was speaking to someone earlier, Emerson could be the first player to win every European trophy. So what an achievement that would be for him. Someone that a lot of people writ off as well. I think he's been brilliant the last few games. It's going to be very interesting with a team selection. Everyone fully fit, obviously apart from Skamaka. Who plays right back? I know we're going to do this in the preview we've got coming up, but who starts at right back? As for now, has played his way into the team. It's a beautiful headache for David Moyes to have. It's a perfect headache for a manager to have when you've got a fully fit team and everyone's firing at the moment. Everyone's buzzing for it. I can't wait.
That's it, mate.
I want to fucking get to Prague now.
So the nerves are kicking, building up to the game. That's when
match day morning, I'll be all right. That was the same for the semis. It wasn't until I got in the stadium and it was like 10 minutes before kickoff, my heart was going a little bit because I wanted it so much. And the final was going to be triple that because I want this even more. I want that. I still have that image of Soufal and Souček holding the Czech Republic flag and the trophy, celebrating in front of us. Bowen, Rice, Benrahma, everyone, every player, Zuma, everyone just dancing in front of the fans. That's what I want to see because I got a taste of it in the semis. You think the videos in the dressing room in the semis were good with Cotton Eye Joe? Mate, Cotton Eye Joe will be on that pitch with us.
This is a good comment, right? Now, obviously, we haven't won anything yet, but this is a funny. Is Dawson flying out to the final? Would be cool if he celebrates after the win. So if we won it, he's obviously, eligible for a medal. Do you think he might make an appearance?
He'll get a medal. I don't think he'll make an appearance. I think he might get a bit of stick for that. He might be out there in the stands.
Yeah.
It would. It would definitely get a medal though, which is I don't know how I'd feel about that as a player, to be honest.
Well, I suppose
you'd be gutted, wouldn't you?
No, but in a way, it's similar to if he had got an injury. He played the group games.
But that's different because you're still part of the football club.
Yeah, but
he could have relegated us, Scott.
Yeah, I know, but I think it'd be good for him to get a medal. To be honest.
Look, listen, fair enough, he gets a medal, but I don't agree with him coming on the pitch.
No, definitely not coming on the pitch. Not doing the John Terry and get kitted up in full kit to lift the trophy that you didn't play in the final for. But he deserves a medal for being part of the squad that at the start of the season. And as I said, it's no different.
He's contributed. He's contributed.
Skamaka's contributed. He'll still get. I know he's still at the football club, but
everyone gets a medal. But someone's just commented there. I was just about to say that. I think that if we do win it, I think Declan Rice will call Noble up to be part of lifting that trophy. I think that's just how Declan Rice is. I think that whatever people think, I think Noble should be part of that. That's my take on it, but my feelings on Nobes, but it'd be nice to see him all suited up, not kitted up, suited up. Coming out with his shin pads and fucking boots on with Noble 16 on the back.
No, if we win that, Nobes will be on that pitch. Definitely be on that pitch.
Yeah, but Noble will be one of the proudest people in the stadium. He's got no like jealousy towards it. He's been part of this journey. I know he's retired, but he's started. He's been a start of it from last season. Didn't play a lot of football, but he's always in the dressing room. And I think that's where we've improved a bit since he's been involved a bit more. I don't know what his role is going to be next season, but
he's stepped down from that role, hasn't he?
Yeah, so I think he's going to be concentrating more on the youth and that, which is perfect for him, I think.
We seem to have a lot of youth coaches.
No, not coach.
Oh, what you mean? Like he's going to go into the academy or what?
Yeah, he'll concentrate on more running the academy with like Kenny Brown. I think it's good to have these sort of players involved.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
I think we haven't we've got some good coaches down there. You know, we've got some. You've only got to look at our under 18s, what they've done this season.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's nice to have these because when you walk into that football club at 9 years old or however young you are, you'll look on the wall and you'll see someone like Noble and you think, yeah, look at what he done for West Ham. I want to play for West Ham. I want to make 500 appearances. Gives them something to look forward to aim for.
And it's good to see now as well. Some of the under 21s who have had that fantastic season signing their pro contracts as well. You know, I think the goalkeeper signed his pro contract today. I think
he is no way under 21, man. He looks about 35.
I think there's 7 of them have signed pro contracts. So it's good for the club going forward.
Yeah. It is good for the club going forward. But listen, let us know in the comments where you're going to be watching the final, how you're going to be supporting the Irons. Send us some tweets. Show us your flag. Show us your shirts. Have you done anything? I've got to say this though before we do go, and before we start sort of building up towards Prague.
We need. There's a few comments we need to read out. Nick,
go on then, mate. You go. Off you shoot.
It's all right. We've had a few super chats come in since the last one, so I've got to try and work out where you finished now.
Right, well, let me say this while you get in the comments up. I'll tell you what, right? Just a passing comment. There's been the club have been so fucking cheeky this week, right? Look, and you've got to respect the hustle and all that sort of thing. They've had that white fucking shitty shirt on sale for about 6-7 weeks now. 40% off of it and all that. They cleared off the whole racks of the shops last week, right? Cleared the whole racks off. Went and got them all embroidered. Now they're back on the shelf for 80 quid.
And that leads to one of our super chats.
Oh.
Funny enough, I was in Lakeside yesterday. I was in the club shop and I noticed that they weren't on the shelves. And I said to my wife, "Well, that's weird." Now I know why.
Yeah, because they was 35 quid. Now they're 80 fucking quid.
There you go. Adam's donated a £5 and he said that's exactly what he was saying. It's unbelievable that the club have done that.
It's capitalism, mate. It's capitalism.
Oh, of course.
That's what it is. It's a chance to cash in, and they've got to take it. They've got to, it's one of them things, I'm afraid. At the end of the day, you should have got one at 40 quid if you was that bothered, you know what I mean? But you have got to admit it's probably one of the shittest kits we've ever had. And they've probably got fucking reams and reams and reams of them fucking everywhere. They're probably, David Sullivan probably goes in his house. He has to fight the boxes through these fucking kits where they ain't sold any of them.
It's one of the shittest kits, but it could be one of the most iconic kits for years to come.
Yeah, it could. And they've fortunately for the club, we're going to wear it in the final. And if we win the fucking thing, there won't be one on the shelf, mate.
Mate, I don't care if we was wearing fucking thongs on fucking boob tubes in the final. As long as we win it, I can give a shit what we're wearing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Miss Emma says, can we do her a favour and wish happy birthday to her, Matt? So happy birthday, Matt.
Happy birthday, Matt.
Birthday, Matt. How old is he?
Chris says, great show all. Safe travels, Prague. I saw Ryan in the West Ham shop in Lakeside with 2 star trucks to say hi.
Most probably, mate. I'm always in Lakeside. It's like my second home these days. But don't ever be starstruck, mate. I'm a nobody. Just come over and say hello. Someone collared me as I was coming out of the cinema the other day. I had all popcorn on my chin. Good old chat.
That's it, mate. That's it. Matt's donated $4.99. Cheers for that, mate. I've had 2 playoffs. 06 heartbreaking now European foul. My man is from 66 and saw the majority of our glory and best players. Please, God, West Ham win. Red 5. When it loads up, $4.99 super chat. Cheers, mate. I'm Moyes out. But if we win the cup, build a statue. We need this as a football club. Matt Ryan again. Matt Rainey, sorry, not Ryan. Sorry, Ryan. You and I had a giggle about the lava lamp kit during the World Cup stage. Now it seems you're right about using it for the final. Need 2 in the 90-2-1 West 2-1 win.
Scott, where does that say World Cup?
Did I
What
say
are you reading?
World Cup? Sorry.
It's during the group stages.
Group stages, sorry.
He is an awful kid. He always reminds me of someone wearing a white shirt and they've spilt their soup down here. And they've just kept it on there.
That's it. Steve 499 super chat. Cheers, mate. Got to get some ciders in. Got through 8 cans watching the semi-final. So there we go.
Yeah. Absolutely. But yes, do not go anywhere. Thank you very much for this, Premier League season. But we will be back again next week as we wrap up, probably wrap up the season, but we will be back over the summer. Do not go anywhere. Do not adjust your sets. Make sure you say subscribe to the channel because we are going to Prague and we're going to be bringing you loads and loads of content from over there. For the people that can't get there, for whatever reason, we're going to make sure you feel like you're there.
I'm buzzing to see all the videos of the fan zones that people are in, especially over here. Like there's a few going on over here in Stratford. I'm buzzing to see all the videos and the photos and everything, man. I'm just looking so forward to this week.
I think you should go to one, Scott, and start filming all of that for us.
I'm going pub.
Go to the fan zones.
What pub are you going, Scott?
I ain't decided yet, but I'm going to go to a pub. I'm not
going
with? Graham, probably, and Tanya.
Nice.
But yeah,
what's
I'm going
Dan doing? Is Dan doing a watch-along? Dan's doing a watch-along, isn't he?
I believe
you should
so,
do the
yeah.
fucking watch-along, as it happens.
Huh?
You should do the watch-along.
No, see, I'm not doing the watch-along because I don't want to jinx it. So I'm going to the pub to watch it. Superstitions, mate.
I'll back you, Scott. Go to the pub. Enjoy yourself.
Exactly.
Anyway, yes, we will be there. Have any of you guys got a golden ticket? Yes, we have. Me and Ryan will be in the stadium. We'll be bringing you all the content. As I say, all the content from Prague. We won't miss a beat over there. So do not worry. Do not go anywhere. Do not unsubscribe. Do not go on holiday and think we're finished. We're not finished just yet.
And quickly, Nick, as well. Yeah. I think I read earlier that the O2 are doing one and Julian Dix is hosting it, which will be a good night as well. So there's loads of things going on. So
that one's in the Indigo. I think cheapest ticket's about 21 quid for full or standing.
That's decent. Get in there, Scott.
Yeah, go somewhere. But yeah, thank you very much for joining us on this edition of West Ham Fan TV's Friday Night Pint. Me and Ryan won't be back next week. I don't know what the boys are doing, but we'll be flying back
next week. We'll be just be landing, I think.
Something like that, yeah. So we won't be here next week, but hopefully when we see you again, we'll be as European Cup winners. But thank you very much. One thing left to say: come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons.